Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today what I want to do is look at different Ficus bonsai that I have and prune them. Basically, I have quite a lot of ficus trees and some of them now, of course as it is growth season, are in dire need of a prune for actually different reasons. So we're going to look at all those trees separately and also at the reasons why I prune them and which pruning we're actually going to do. Is it just maintenance pruning? Is it structural pruning? So definitely a lot of infos you can expect from this video. So I would say let's get right into this matter with the first tree. So let's start right away with my tiger bark ficus right in front of you here. You can see that I have pruned and actually structural pruned a lot on this tree already beforehand. So I took out the entire apex of the tree, and as luck will have it, we have a long new shoot here that is going to be the new leader in the future. So I'm planning on having this grow very thick, very strong, and be the new leader of the tree moving in this direction. So of course this on the one hand means we need to stunt the growth on this side a little bit. As you can see, there has been a lot of new growth, and that we need to take out because, as I said, I don't really want this tree to focus most of its energy on this side branch here, or what's going to be a side branch in the future. So we simply go in, take out the growth. Actually, this one we can go all the way back. And I can already see some side branches starting here, which is great, but that also means I would take it back to a certain point where I would basically stunt the growth from this part and here, so to really have the tree focus also on some of these side branches developing in the future. So what we're going to do here is actually directional pruning. I want the tree to also grow a bit in this direction now, so I'm going to cut back to a leaf that is pointing in the direction that I want the tree to grow in the future. So as we have a side branch here and also one underneath here, I don't want to go as far back as here, but probably to this leaf right here we can go back and have the tree then, after of course healing and recovering, also growing in this direction, a side branch then. So we have some side branches developing in this direction and then one side branch going up here. I might already look at those side branches also if there's something we need to do here, but as they only started to grow here, would take it back to this one leaf actually. So we take out this big leaf here, but the other side branches are just now starting to develop. They only have one leaf each. So I wouldn't go too far into this tree anymore. It's always just like little steps of work that I'm doing on this tree, but of course it all has the goal of continuing to develop this new leader here. And I really like to see that it's already starting to get woody on this lower part of the branch, so we're definitely on the right way here. So let's already move on to a second tree. But what we did here is basically some maintenance pruning, stunting the growth on the side branch, and some directional pruning on this new leader, hopefully having it develop in this direction. So the next tree I want to move on to is a Ficus Benjamina bonsai that I created simply from a Ficus Benjamina you can normally quite easily find at garden centers, for example. So of course that is also the reason why it's not the thickest trunk yet, but I have had it grown freely now over growth season. That's why it's so bushy at the moment, simply to also make sure it gathers a lot of energy also after repotting it. That of course also influences the trunk growth in the future. So by letting it grow, you will also thicken the trunk. So if you want to achieve a thicker trunk, it's always good to let your tree grow freely to simply improve that. But I think it has come to a point where we need to give it some more shape. So what I'm definitely doing first is give it a haircut basically. So not really thinking too much about the structure of the tree, just really cutting back a lot of this new growth that has developed. Especially up here, of course, a lot of new growth, just to reduce it in size again. Here we have some growth that also can go. Here we'll take out most of this side branch. Also here you can see simply very long shoots developing because I really have had this tree simply grow freely over summer now. But there comes a time when you of course have to cut it back then as well again. As I said, I'm not looking too much into creating already a final structure on this tree because it is just at the start of its journey to become a nice looking bonsai tree in the future. So what we do right now is simply let it grow, cut it back, let it grow, cut it back again, simply to have it develop more of a trunk line that fits better for what we intend to do with this tree in the future. Here we can actually take out this entire thing. So we reduced it in size, and now we can still look at certain things we want to take out. For example, this entire side branch, I think here we don't really need. This one I might leave on in the back to also thicken the trunk still a bit, so to hopefully have the trunk below it also thicken. I just need to keep an eye on it, because sometimes what you can get is then a thicker trunk, especially here, basically where the side branch goes off of the main trunk. So if I see this is thickening too much, I would need to take out this side branch, which in my opinion it actually already starts to do a little bit, so I will take it out now. Let's see if I can do it with this garden shears. Yes, Ficus Benjamina is normally very soft, the wood, so quite easy to take it out. I will clean this up at a later point when it dies back a little bit. Here we can still take out some of the tips that we have missed before when going around the tree. So we just cleared it out, definitely, more again. And if we look at the overall structure, we can see some movement here with a side branch. This one not as much. So what is definitely also in need for this tree in the future is some wiring, but I think we're still too early a bit for that on this tree, because we're simply not yet there when it comes to the overall structure and the overall thickness of the tree. But we will probably take out some of the apex here already, because I can see that that is not a desired look right now. We might even switch to this side here as a new leader, but even there I would shorten it still a bit. We can also shorten some of the side branches here still, even this one here, and this one, we just take out this part of the leaf. And here we have a leaf coming from the main trunk that we also definitely can take out. So we reduced quite a lot actually from this tree, but it will grow back quite fast. This one, as Ficus Benjamina in general, is a very fast grower. That's also why I do prefer them so much for bonsai trees, and especially for creating your own bonsai tree, because it's a great training material. But for now, I would say enough pruning on this tree. The white sap, you can leave it on. It might stain the tree a bit, so it might stain the bark of the tree a little bit. Otherwise, you can simply take a paper towel, for example, and tap those areas where the white sap is appearing, and then it definitely won't stain anything. And the final tree for today is my Ficus Microcarpa that has some dieback on some parts here, which it always has, so there's always one or the other leaf dying on this one. You can see a Ficus Microcarpa, in this case a grafted one, so you have this variety that creates this thicker root base, and then you have the Ficus Microcarpa branches grafted onto it. And that already brings me to the first thing we have to prune on this one, and this is basically any shoots that develop from the trunk here, because you can see the leaves are completely different to the leaves up here. They're more pointy, they're way bigger, and they're not coming in as close together as the Ficus Microcarpa craft does. So definitely we want to get rid of all the growth always coming here from the trunk line, and sadly there is always new growth coming from here, but just always keep in mind to continuously work on that, and then it shouldn't be too big of a problem. So that of course already takes out quite an unsightly thing here at the bottom of the trunk. And then we simply see at the main branches what we can still do. I must say actually I try to let it grow a little bit right now, because I'm quite happy with the growth of it, but I do still want to achieve some more ramification, definitely, especially here at the top. What I do like about my Ficus Microcarpa is how dense the growth is. So you can really see how close those leaves are together. And that just gives it such a full look already early on when you work on it. So also here we can take out the tips, simply working a little bit step by step again on ramification. But also here, not really doing any structural pruning or directional pruning for that matter, just really taking back, cutting out the tips, making sure we set up this tree in a nice way for future growth and future ramification. Also here you can still see a tip we can take out. Here I actually would take it back one leaf further because it's quite big in comparison. So that is also something that I always look at this tree. If you let it grow too long and the branch is getting too long, the leaves tend to grow bigger and bigger over time. So then you simply go in and you go back to a part where the leaves are smaller, and that of course gives it a nicer look than again. So also making this one just as compact as possible, hoping that all those little cut points that you can so easily see with the sap coming out will in the future ramify and give us two branches coming from wherever we have made the cuts now. But yes, that already also is the pruning for this one, mainly maintenance pruning, making sure we set up the tree for great rest of the growth season. So there you have it, 3 different ficus varieties we have worked on now. We actually, let me show you, we did take out quite a lot of growth of all 3 different trees. So I think today I won't take any cuttings because it was mainly really short shoots like this. So I think they're a bit too small. Yeah, maybe this one from Ficus Benjamina I could take. But I think today really focusing more on pruning and not on propagating. But I hope this video gave you an idea how you can work on ficus, on different varieties of ficus, when it comes to pruning, when it comes to maintenance pruning, just giving it back its shape like this Ficus Benjamina or also the Ficus ginseng. On structural pruning, like we did on the tiger bite ficus there, where we really work on basically creating a new apex. There's hopefully a lot of interesting information for you. If you're missing something in this video, of course, feel free to leave that in the comments. And if there's any questions, I will get to answer them as soon as I see them. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like. And if you enjoy this channel, of course, feel free to subscribe to it. Hopefully I will see you then in the next video. Until then, goodbye.